Hello, my name's Simon Brew, and this is Thoughts on the Blues. My reaction to Ipswich Town 2, Birmingham City 1 is running slightly later than planned, and in the spirit of the halftime quiz at St Andrews at Knighthead Park, I'm going to give you multiple choice as to why that might be. Is it A, I'm in shock that our football team turned up? Is it B, I'm incandescent that a linesman can spot from 60 yards a ball has crossed the line? Or is it C, I recorded it all straight after the match and accidentally hit the mute button? You work it out. Hello, and a very warm welcome to Thoughts on the Blues, take 2. I did indeed record the whole lot straight after the match where I was still vaguely dazed. And this microphone here, look at this. Turns out there's a button on the side of it that mutes the whole thing. So for those of you who don't actually want to hear a word I say, but quite like seeing some strange man with a wonky eye move around a bit on a camera, A, you've got issues, and B, drop me a note below and I'll send you the footage if you really want. Right, so Ipswich versus Birmingham City. I remember the opening game of the season. You remember that? All that hope? All that hope? Anyway, the 1-1 draw where a very dodgy refereeing decision at the end, I will charitably say, might have cost us 2 points. And I remember saying back then, you can't tell anything from a first game of the season. A comment, I've got lots wrong this season, but a comment that's been thoroughly vindicated since. Here, well, I mean, we battered them for that 1-1 at the start of the season. They got the 95th minute penalty when someone managed to see Lyndon Dykes. Was it handball or something? I can't even remember. I know that they sent the footage off for forensic examination to see if they could see an offence, but as I understand it, it's still not come back conclusively. That notwithstanding, at the start of the season, we were riding high. Ipswich were not. And yes, roles have significantly reversed. So, first a note for Ipswich Town fans. Couple of things on your club. First of all, you support your local team. No quarrel there. Number 2, I think you know somewhere deep down in your heart of hearts you've got away with one here. You've got your 3 points. If you're here for the hate watch and everything like, I understand it. I get it. Gloat away. Bugger off. This is for Blues fans. My only slight thing that makes me dislike Ipswich Town is this. My cousin worked as a temporary member of staff for them for, 10, 15 years. As soon as they got promoted to the Premier League, she got fired via email. So, it's always taken just the slight tinge off it. But still, if you're supporting Ipswich rather than a top 3 Premier League club, I respect that. You've got your 3 points. I would suggest you've done quite well out of us this season where not necessarily you could have done. How's that? If you stay around for the rest, that's entirely up to you. But you got your 3 points. I hope you get promoted so we don't meet you and assorted referees and officials next season. But we'll see. So, where were we? Right. So, this whole environment in which I'm recording has changed. And it's changed because I did a rage tidy. I was so fed up after coming back from St Andrews at Knighthead Park for Peaky Blinders Day on Friday, where we didn't turn up, but the Peaky Blinders did, lost 1-0. You know all of this, that I completely gutted this room, built the new shelf behind. I still don't know quite where to put the camera. It's all mildly off-putting, but I just put football out of my head. And truth be told, the thought of sitting through Ipswich versus Birmingham today was not filling me with joy. I'm all right watching games where there's nothing on for us, but it's just, as Ryan Deeney has put in his excellent Substacks, do search Ryan Deeney, when he analyses the game, it's not that we've been losing, it's how we've been losing. And I've just watched too many games over the last 2 months where we've not even laid a punch on the opposition, where we're just not having shots and things like that. And it's just like, I'll sit and watch it out of obligation because I still morally believe at a fundamental level it's not supposed to be fun watching Birmingham City. And as much as all these people come over from America and try and give me hope, I still don't believe that it is supposed to be entertaining. And so that's been my base level. I remember John Bond setting up his defensive football, for crying out loud. Just like, I was schooled in Birmingham City not being very good. So this is just like, the last month or so has just been a bit of another season. Same old, really. I did note, ahead of kickoff at Portman Road, I decided I watched this. I was so into this. I watched it while doing the ironing. It's the second time I've done it. The first time I watched a match while doing the ironing, we were away at Watford and we got tanked 3-0. We followed our usual away form of conceding 2 goals in the first half, a charity third in the second half. I'm an optimist. If you followed these videos right from the start, you'll know I'm an optimist. Even I was expecting the 3-0 tonking today. And do you know what? We've still lost. I'm not very good of the valiant loser thing. Oh, we did really well, but we just fell short. Good on us. It's still no points. So please accept everything I'm about to say still has that underlying. We still lost. But we lost in the way that if you're going to lose a game, this is how you do it. You have to be dragged off the pitch. You've had a go. You've peppered their goal. You've tested the Specsavers sponsorship of the linesman. Let's just, we're going to get there, right? We're going to get there. But I just didn't really want to watch it. I knew I was going to watch it, but this was very much an out of obligation. Turned into quite a nice surprise. I mean, once you go into these things not expecting a result, a performance will do you. And it was a little bit like that, really. I noted in the build-up that the Portman Road DJ is playing half the same songs as us. And did you notice they've got the same fire thing, that fire effects when the team come out, but with a fundamental difference. This is well impressive, this is. You can tell they used to be Premier League and may well be again within a few weeks. But their fire blowy things, what's the technical term? I don't bloody know. Blow in 3 different directions. And get this, it does it deliberately as well. Do you remember when we had, like, was it the Leeds FA Cup game? And the fire effect goes off as the players walk out and it gets hit by a big gust of wind and heads off towards the main stand. Yeah, Ipswich is bi-directional on purpose, as goes off in different directions because we've got it from the cheap supplier down Digbeth. That's what I reckon. Yeah, team selection then. And ordinarily, most matches this season, let me just have a little bit of my alcohol-free grape juice, which I hadn't had when I recorded earlier. So now you're getting the more grapey version of this video. Take a minute, folks. Oh, lovely. Oh, God. One day I should get, like, the non-cheap stuff from the Spa shop up the road. I live in Hales Owen, and so the Spa usually has, like, a 3 for £12 offer or something like that. It's paint stripper, but needs must. You know, I'm on a budget, right? So, the team selection. I mean, it's hard to say. It's not that I wasn't invested in it or anything like that, because it really wasn't. It's just like, it's still Blues. But, you know, whatever he picked today was just like, all right. And usually I'm looking at that. I'm one of these people who 75 minutes in, 75 minutes before kickoff, I want to know the team. I want to know who's playing. And today I didn't really. My expectations have been so knocked to the floor. I just wasn't. It's not that, again, it's not that I didn't care. It's just like I didn't seek it out. When I did find the team, which was about 50 minutes before kickoff, I found 7 changes, including a back 4 that hasn't started a match together before. Good old Blues. And a few more interesting ones in that we seem to have discovered some of the players who joined us in January. Now, there must have been a mix-up when they signed for the club. in that their contract brought with them special bench privileges, which meant they would have to sit on it for far longer than most of the fan base could realise. But, here was the starting lineup with August Priska up front. Now, Chris Davies has mentioned in some of his press stuff that Priska's been ill. So, fair dues, there might be a reason there. Carlos Vicente starting a match. Imagine such things. In for the unlucky Patrick Roberts, I'd suggest. Although I think most people who played Blackburn are tarnished, but to some degree, by that performance. Damari Gray back on the left in place of Osman. The holding midfielders, Solis back in alongside Peck. And then this back four, Asai Samuel, who it was the most thankless substitution of the season when he came on with 2 minutes left against Blackburn to sit in as right back at a point where Tomoki Iwata, bless him, relegated to the bench today, had just kept running up the right wing and just had no purchase whatsoever. Asai Samuel's brought on with a minute or two left just to see what he can do with it. The answer, what a surprise. Not much in a minute or two. So he gets a start here. Panzo on the left. All right. My view is still loan players or players who aren't likely to be here next season probably shouldn't get priority in the team, but also, let's face it, we're shit out of left backs here. We could have put Jack Robinson at the left, but not a lot of pace there. Cochrane's injured, Buchanan's injured, Kai Wagner's injured. Panzo was the best we were going to get, unless we swapped Ethan Laird round again, but he's only been back from injury all sorts of permutations. But look who was at the back. Look, it's only Phil Neumann, the man who's warmed the bench far longer, far more than any player this season that I can really understand. I don't understand why he's been on the bench so much. Maybe in a few, like the government declassifies files after 50 years or something like that. You youngsters watching this, hopefully in 50 years, someone will declassify what's happened behind the scenes this season. And we'll find out why Phil Neumann's got splinters in his arse. Why has he been on the bench so much? I know all this stuff about left foot and right back, centre back, but do we have a better centre back partnership than Neumann and Clara? Don't even think Neumann had one of his best games today. I thought he was fine, but I thought he really cared. The number of times in the first half, oh God, it was a joy to watch, where he's just virtually wrestling and battling and desperate to get the ball. That's what I want. And also a danger at set pieces. Not today, granted. But, why has he not been in the team? I still don't know. 50 years' time, right, when I'm long dead, just for the record, at my funeral, I want the extended version of Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On to play, precisely because it is my most hated song, and I won't be there, and I'm thoroughly entertained by the idea that you'll have to sit there, those of you who go, and listen to it thinking that I really love this song and be very moved while I'm off somewhere else just enjoying myself, having thoroughly wasted moments of your time. Sorry, that's a segue. I didn't have that in the earlier version that I recorded. That's a bonus for you. I watched this over the ironing then on Blues TV. I looked at that lineup. I was just like, it's fine. I don't know by this stage. I've given up trying to predict what's a good or bad lineup. I'm just grateful to see Priska and Vicente on the pitch. Players who we're going to have next season, who have signed permanently, who, let's give them 6 games, 6 starts of at least 80 minutes each. And see what they can do. And if they can't do anything, at least we'll know. We've got 5 or 6 dead fixtures here. At least we'll know. But my suspicion on today's evidence is actually they can do quite a lot. I should note, even though a little bit of time has passed since the match, I was caught up in Blues Man City women's quarter-final of the FA Cup game, which we lost 1-0, gutted. I've not gone back and watched the highlights of this, save of the Ipswich Birmingham game, save for one moment with Ibrahim Osman, which, by God, we're going to talk about later. That's something to look forward to. What I admired about the Blues TV coverage then, I watched it on Blues TV rather than Sky, his reality has very much hit in the halls of Blues TV. First of all, they've got Ian Clarkson on as co-commentator. I really like him. But the guy who's commentating, has had the most thankless job. It's just like, God, it must be like being the in-store Santa at Lidl, being the commentator at a Blues game at the moment when you're being paid by Blues to do it. How do you find the upside of some of this? You know, and I mean, they just given up. Key quotes, lackluster the last game was. It's like they'd had a reality check or something like that. We need a response. We needed a response in February, mate. But, you know, here we are. So, anyway, I settled relatively reluctantly. I'd got through 4 shirts, actually, by the time the game kicked off. I'd admired the She-Med sponsorship on our shorts. They must be thrilled. 39 seconds in, I watched Ipswich go through our defence and have a really good shot at our goal from McAteer, where a defensive error had let him in, and he had that thirst just to have a bash at goal just over the bar. James Beadle would have had it covered. No question about Beadle being in the team, by the way. I know I've got this thing on loan players. Still don't think he'll be here next season, but also I don't think Ryan Allsop will be number 1 next season. I don't think we know who our keeper will be next year at the moment. Beadle, off the back of the Blackburn display, walks out like save of the season kind of level. So he had that covered. No problem with him being in the team. I thought we did a little bit of neat passing, interchanging the first 4 or 5 minutes, but you could tell this was a back four that didn't really know each other that well. Not on a social level. I'm sure they've gone off and had several Vimtos in each other's company. But in terms of playing together, I think that the one with the hardest job there was Panzo, slightly out of position. Ipswich were targeting him, a couple of little errors here and there. Also, I thought it took a little bit of time for John Solis to settle into the game. I think Solis, it's unclear whether we've got him next season or not at the moment. As I understand it, only from reading like posts on Small Heath Alliance. A big thanks to Rags, by the way, who has been on Small Heath Alliance, who's been a very big supporter of this and has just come back after several weeks. Sounds like you've been through a hell of a lot. Thank you so much for your support. It's, I don't know. There's stuff. That's all. And in terms of the Solis transfer, who knows? I don't know. And my thinking of him is that we dropped him, well, because he was banned. I mean, you can't really pin much there, can you? But he struggled to get into the team after his silly sending off at Millwall, which, let's face it, was the turning point. But we've kind of got this thing here. It's like, if we're serious about having him, and we're not serious about having Tommy Doyle, for instance, next season, which is what it looks like. Tommy Doyle just on the phone there. Sorry, Tommy. Then you've got to start Solis, haven't you? I mean, we've got to back the players who are likely to be here. And I think he's got a loose pass in him every game. I've made this point before. He's got the Olivier Tebberley bomb scare moment in him. And I thought he had a good first half with a couple of sloppy moments. And then I thought he had a seismic second half, which I'm going to come to a bit later. So he was dispossessed fairly early on. You got Clara reading things at the back, all looking pretty good. And then quite early on, we win this free kick, which Damari Gray wins the free kick, smacks the ball in, and it finds Carlos Vicente just in space in the box. And what's his instinct? To hit it, to smack it, and it's deflected behind. I was just like, oh, okay, that's a bit more direct than I've been used to for a while. Let's go with a while. Then, oh, what the hell's that? Got a little bit of carrot in my teeth there. I'll save that for later. Then, I've just put it there as well. That's disgusting. Don't listen to people who do that. Then, there was a little bit of commentary on Blues TV, and I thought this was a kind of unfortunate audit of how our expectations have changed, because this is going to be a relatively positive video. Most of the ones I put out try to be, but conscious that we lost again, 6-7 defeats. I don't do that in like the last 8 or 9 at the minute. I haven't even looked it up. I just know it's bad. The commentator said, and I wrote this down, coming in as underdogs, where we want to be, where we thrive. I thought that was a really curious sentence. And I know why they said it, because in this game, away at Ipswich Town, we were underdogs. But we shouldn't really like say our expectation shouldn't be that we come in as underdogs because that's where we thrive. That's sort of how Derby and Bristol City got up the table, isn't it? That they weren't expected to win. And it's no disrespect to those teams, but they found results. Surely our ethos wasn't that. But over the course of the season, reality has bitten. And of the 3 teams that came up last year from League One, congratulations to Lincoln, who have just been promoted, I gather. 2 of the teams are... Charlton at one point were within 2 points of us this season. And, reality has bitten a little bit. And so, I don't know. I can't imagine if you wrote on a memo to Knighthead in the US, sending best wishes to Tom Wagner as always, that our aim is to be underdogs because that's where we want to be and where we thrive, you would get a particularly pleasant Christmas card in return. Don't know. But I agree with the commentator. That's sort of where we were on this game. That's how you have to set up, it seems. But then we were... for the bulk of this game, and it is a surprise for me to say so, for the second time against Ipswich Town this season, the better team. We got a result a level below what we deserved. Should have won the first game, should have drawn this one, but we were the better team. And who knew? These players we signed in January, Panzo, jury out on this one, but he's put in some good performances. These players we put in are good. Carlos Vicente, tight, even defending, was working his backside off and doing really well. Or August Priska up front. How many times have we played this season? The ball's gone up front and come straight back. And because there's no one up there holding it up. Marvin Dux doesn't play that role. Lyndon Dykes did, but we're only playing him the last 10 minutes of a game. August Priska is 21? And not only, he was doing these weird things like, I had to write this down, he won headers. Then, hold on to your armrests, folks. Then, there were moments where he had the football and played a 1 or 2 touch pass and found a Birmingham player. What madness. Madness. Also, I would suggest that he and Stansfield began to link up really, really well. I don't think it's a coincidence that Stansfield probably had his best game since, even like Southampton, something like that. I thought he was great in that game. And they were linking in the way that Stansfield and Kyogo were right at the start of the season before we realised Kyogo couldn't score goals. And so, I don't know, I looked at that with hope. It's just like we'd lost our football team over the last month or so. Turns out they were in Ipswich. And turns out like half the players we needed were on the bench. Vicente and Priska, I thought, were really good. Asai Samuel, I thought, a shaky first half. Certainly some of the goals. I've not rewatched the goals. My memory is he doesn't come out of one of them particularly well. Likewise, Panzo. But Asai Samuel, the second half, driving forward and causing problems and comfortable on the ball. There's this one moment where the ball just went over the top, and it's the move that's caught us out time and time again. Controls it with his foot as the last defender back and drives forward. It's just like, okay, so we can do this. Why are we discovering this in April? No, why couldn't we do this? I know, putting it out there. February. Why did the season have to self-destruct to find this lineup and this style of play and quality of play? And the answer, I think the answer fundamentally is because there's nothing on it. And it's almost like, it's not quite pre-season friendly, but it's easy. It's not easy, but it's easier, I would suggest, to play well when there's nothing on it. Because when there's been stuff on it, more often than not, we start to choke. Here, Ipswich are the ones with the pressure on them. That they're going for automatic promotion. Sporting chance they'll get it. They hadn't played on Friday. So their international break had gone on a bit longer. They're more rested. Their fans, if we could contain Ipswich, were going to get a bit testy because, you know what? They're the ones with everything on it. And we're the ones who could go and spoil everything. So Couple more moments in the first half. I did just, I noted, Panzo was getting better. I mean, there was one point, to his credit, where he did a last man tackle and managed not to foul someone, although he should have. There was a very good penalty shout against him towards the end of the match. But I thought Neumann was playing well. Couple of little errors, but an intent to fix them when they went wrong. I still think if we played him for 10 consecutive games alongside Clara, we might have a real combination there. It's just at the point where it got wobbly, he was dropped. And, we've not had a partner alongside him who's worked as well. And not for the want of trying either. So, there was a really difficult bit about 20 minutes into the game where my iron actually ran out of water. And so it made it a bit harder just to iron one of the shirts. I think I've hung it up there, actually. You can probably see, I don't know whether you can see that. You can probably see a couple of extra creases in there. But I was getting too interested in the match. I'm still writing down the commentator. Chris Davies promised us rotation. The commentator said, talking about the team selection. Yeah, he's promised us a couple of other things there, mate, as well. They haven't all worked, have they? Then there was a bit, and where Ipswich, was it Matisiwa, who was going down injured, and they were talking as if like they're losing their midfield enforcer here. And it sort of reminded me, I like to get a film reference in. Do you remember Rocky Balboa, the 6th Rocky film, where Rocky is now aged and running a restaurant? There's this really weird bit where he's like the former heavyweight champion of the world, and he's won the title and defended it 10, 12 times or something like that. And he runs this restaurant that no one goes to. And I don't know. I mean, if Check Endoy opened up a drive-through in Kings Norton, some people would go to that just out of interest. You're supposed to believe that no one would go to Rocky Balboa's restaurant. Anyway, in the 6th Rocky film, this old Rocky fights the new heavyweight champion of the world, and to level the odds, they injure the new heavyweight champion of the world. I did wonder if there was going to be a little bit of that with Matisiwa coming off injured for Ipswich. But then they brought on Mamete. Now, Mamete was an interesting player because I've just got the news here. I've just got the memo through. Has just got a BA Hons in Grealishing. Mamete is a really talented footballer, but also he has this particular hobby of wanting to inspect the grass on a football pitch in intricate detail, which explains why he keeps falling to the floor just to get a close-up look. If a sparrow farts in Reading, he's on the floor just to check the grass is okay. If you're going through IKEA checkout with a Billy bookcase and you accidentally drop, I don't know, a small tumbler onto his foot, he'll be on the floor to check the floor for you. He's doing a public service, Mamete. I mean, you've been sent from above, as far as I'm concerned, and your willingness to be at one with the earth and not stay on your feet, I think it's been really unfairly criticised. You keep doing what you do. In fact, there he is. You can't see that he's just on the phone. You can't see. He's just on the floor down there, just inspecting it. Thank you so much for doing it. Don't worry about standing up or, I don't know, playing fair. I mean, you do you. You do you. Anyway. We were playing well, is the truth. And it was interesting listening to an opposition, a set of opposition fans getting antsy, getting worried about stray passes and playing out from the back, not going particularly well. And you've got this Blues team who we weren't having. We'd had the one effort in the first 20 minutes, but we looked strangely in control and untroubled. Things soon changed, didn't they? Right, but we were looking good. We were winning corners. We didn't look panicked. We had James Beadle back doing his punches. He did 2 punches. 2 things came in twos here. First of all, the referee got hit by the ball twice, both to Ipswich's advantage, and gave Ipswich a drop ball. It's the letter of the law. I understand that. I remember the Southampton game where Tomoki Iwata was body checked by the referee. I'm over it, though. I'm over it. Don't worry. So you also had James Beadle doing his punching. Now, Beadle had another good game. His first punch left us in a bit of trouble. His second punch, much better. Other than that, there's only one other big thing to talk about with Beadle, which is another incredible save. In fact, no, there's two things. Let me be fair to him. I thought his distribution today was really good. And I've talked on this show a couple of times about these aimless passes up front. Let's call them passes. Which just like you whack the ball 60 yards. We could get Nicky Eden back to do this. You whack the ball 60 yards. They're going out for a goal kick. And I've questioned a few times because it's always the person who makes the pass who looks bad. But shouldn't there be someone on the end of that? Aren't they trained for someone to be on the end of that? So Beadle today, his distribution I thought was really good. But also, I wonder if part of that was the fact that August Priska was really busy at the top of the park and trying to get on the end of them and winning headers. And suddenly, we looked joined up. It was almost like, you look at how bits of the team were playing, and we looked like we knew each other. We were passing to each other. Players were running into spaces where the ball was actually going to go. Sure, I know, not every occasion. There are still a couple of strays here and there. But compared to Ipswich, we looked really composed and looked like we knew what we were doing. Then it nearly went tits up. Right? So I think it's the 31st minute. Let me just double check this. Yeah, it's about that, wasn't it? Where we suddenly have got let Ipswich in one-on-one. Not a good moment. I thought it was Neumann who should have cut it out. But again, I've only seen it once. In goes McAteer, one-on-one with Beadle. Beadle not only saves it, and he saves it by getting down really fast. Really fast. You remember when, like, I don't know, we've had keepers, let's just say, who have defied gravity the time it takes them to get to the floor. You know, I'm not naming names, but you know who they are. Here, he was down really fast. And you know, he was down that fast onto the ground that Mamete came over and patted him on the back and congratulated him. And then he held on to the ball. You know, if he'd have parried that out, which he might have done earlier in the season, certain goal. Should have been a goal anyway. You know, on it XG. I don't do XG, but that's like a 1.5 or some crap like that. Should have been a goal. Then distributes the ball fast. Stansfield, working his backside off, this time with some reward, puts in a sharp, fast cross that Ipswich defence will presumably look at and think they should have cut it out, and maybe they should have done, but it was hit so low and so hard, I think it makes it look it's doubly difficult to cut out. Goes to Vicente, finds Vicente on the edge of the box. He's just got one thing in mind. Cultured shot into the corner, and like a minute after Beadle has kept us in it, we're 1-0 up. And no one's quarrelling that that's unfair. You know, it had been a fairly even contest. Ipswich getting a bit antsy. We'd had this chance. Boom. Why has he not been playing? I sort of know the answer because it's a little bit unfair on Patrick Roberts. I had a conversation with someone in the comments after the Blackburn game about like why have we got Vicente when we got Roberts. It's just like, I know why we've got both of them. Maybe we fought the wrong fire having two people really good in that position. I do think Roberts has been really good. I think Vicente is a game changer. They're both game changers really, but I think Vicente is just, there's really something to him. He's got to start. You know, he's got to continue. Why has he been on the bench? Why? Again, I know the answer. It was a proper, like, a proper GTFI moment. Look it up. If I say it out loud, YouTube and podcast people send me funny notes. It was we were 1-0 up. 1-0 up. And then the commentators on Blues TV said the magic words. All we got to do is hold it till half time. There you go, chaps. There you go. Okay. Oh, God. Hang on. Anyone want a bit of carrot? Oh, the grapes are good. We looked like a different team after the goal as well. Because for 5-6 minutes, we pummeled them. Absolutely pummeled them. And Ipswich really on the back foot and looked completely rattled. You could hear the noise from the crowd as well, that looking like like they just sounded distressed. We had players like Gray. I've seen some criticism of Gray, but he was tracking back time and time again. Stansfield was tracking back. Vicente was tracking back. And they were working really, really hard. Peck concedes a direct free kick on 37. There was a moment, actually, I think it was about 10 minutes into the game, where Ipswich got a throw in and my internet dropped. So, I mean, there was 2 minutes where I didn't know what happened. And twice this season that's happened. And I've come back to see the opposition celebrated a goal. So I was expecting the worst. Even that didn't happen. Imagine madness. Ipswich, though, to be fair to them, they just kept coming. The goal they got on the 41st minute, scored by Johnson. So a bit of luck to it, but also a little bit architects of our own downfall. We'd already had one corner, I think, where we'd faffed to clear the ball out. Here, the depressing thing is we had an absolutely golden chance to clear the ball out. I don't know whether it was Bright or Panzo who didn't take the opportunity to wallop it. Ball comes across, and I mean, if Johnson doesn't make such a faff of his contact with the ball, would it have gone in? I mean, it's all moot, isn't it? But his contact with it was utterly appalling. It was, I don't know. Do you remember when Kevin Francis first joined Blues? And I mean, he was good with his head by the end, but at the first, you just wanted to keep the ball at his feet. There was a little bit of that. It was that kind of contact. But shanked it towards the goal. Neumann's on the line trying to clear it. No question at all, went over the line. I accept it. Ipswich scored. They got their slice of luck. They'd worked their slice of luck because they were relentless with that attack. But as a Birmingham fan, I fully accept that the correct decision was made there in terms of where the ball was in relation to the line. The ball went over the line. It's fair and right that I accept that. 1-1 then, and an unfortunate 1-1. Even then, though, we were still going. It was only a minute or two after that Stansfield just gets the ball back from a position he's got no right to do. The number of 40-60s we won in this game today was astonishing, as good as any we've had this season, I would suggest. The battling that was going on, where was it a month ago? You can't help but think it. You look at the stats of this. I've only just looked them up. And, 54%, 46% possession to Ipswich Blues. 11 to 9 shots, 5 to 4 shots on target, and roughly equal touches in the opposition box, 21 to 17. Same number of goalkeeper saves, lots of corners, lots of action, and we were good, and we looked like we were on it, and we were working really hard, and then we do the sloppy thing. And I've not watched it back, in truth. I can't tell you who lost the ball, but it looked like Ipswich went through us like butter. And you can't let them through 1-on-1 twice. Converted 2-1, and somehow from a game we were 1-0 up and no one was really quarrelling with that scoreline. It'd been really tight. We're 2-1 down, and it's just like, why? So, anyway, we get to half-time just after James Beadle's been told off for an Ipswich player repeatedly running into him. Silly you, James. You should know that, it's your fault if they do that. We get to half-time with a couple of thoughts. A, wondering why we're behind. We know, crappy defending in the last 5 minutes, but still. B, we're playing a lot better here. It's just like our football team has turned up, and players are linked. The likes of Vicente, Stansfield, Prischka linked together really well. It's just we've not really had much chance to see that. Okay. We also get to half-time, well, I do as well, expecting the sucker punch goal, third goal to come within the first 5 minutes of the second half, and then I can switch off a little bit, just get through a bit more ironing. But lots of things didn't happen. Peck went off at half-time. I don't quite know why. I assume an injury. I wonder if there's still some aftermath from his shoulder injury. He's got a World Cup ahead of him as well. But Iwata and Solis in those holding midfield spots. And I thought they were a superb combination in the second half. I wouldn't have put them together necessarily, but there was something about the two of them put together and the context of the game that it just worked. That Iwata suddenly looked a lot steadier with the ball than and more careful with the ball than he did at right back. It was no longer his responsibility to put in the killer cross, that we had others who were going to have a go at that, and we did put a couple of good crosses in as well. Stansfield was putting some corkers in. Also, the second half, it sort of, I won't say it transformed Solis because I still think he was playing well, but he just suddenly looked like a tank. And there were moments in the game where there's one where he lost the ball, where he just, a couple of times actually, Blues players lost the ball and fought like hell to get it back. You're just like, yes. Solis in particular had one moment where he did that. Also, he had one moment where he basically ran half the length of the field. He was driving forward at them. That strength of his, now combined with a bit more care with the football, he suddenly looked like a 9 out of 10 footballer. And our midfield looked really solid. I'm just like, okay, again, we're just like, yeah. We've found this combination. It might be a bit late, but we found this combination and we were causing them problem after problem after problem. Now, there were still issues. It's just like Panzo was still a little bit shaky the start of the second half. There was one ball that he misjudged and so Ipswich managed to get a shot in off the back of that, but they're not doing any damage with it. And it got to the point of substitutions being made relatively early in the second half. And there were fairly obvious subs on the. Panzo for Laird seemed fairly obvious to me. Damari Gray had been booked, so Ibrahim Osman coming on for, and I thought Gray had been pretty decent. That looked obvious as well. And as we were making the substitutions, Mehmete just fell to the floor trying to get a free kick out of them. I think, I don't know. Osman then comes. Osman is a game changer, but not always a game changer. Here he could and should have been a game changer. Hit the post against Blackburn, remember? Here he was a menace. And within, I think I made it within 2 minutes of getting on the park. He'd gone down the left, got a cross in, and that was the moment where the ball went to Brighter Samuel. He was pretty much on the centre circle, the centre spot, wasn't he? And he couldn't work out whether to pass or hit or whatever, and made a bit of a mess of it. But you're just like, that was a really good move. That was a cross. We moved fast enough that Ipswich couldn't respond, and we had an opportunity at the goal. And not a minute later, John Solis is driving forward, has a low shot, keeper saves it. And you're just like, okay, we're testing them. And Ipswich are coming back. They're nobody's fools. They're in the position they're in for a reason. They were Premier League last season. Clara makes a mistake in the box just after the hour. Just a slightly fumbled touch. And Hurst, bless him, has a shot. And I'm just thinking, oh, he's just dragged that one. And then you look again. It's just like, no, Clara has made sure he's got something in the way. He's corrected his mistake. And this is like team stuff. Team spirit, drive. And there was a point that Ryan Deeney made in his article on the Blackburn game where he I hadn't noticed it at the time, but he said when the goal went in, when Blackburn's goal inevitably eventually went in, there's no retribution from it. There's no one digging each other out. It was just like, no, got a goal. Here, if your player made a mistake, they took responsibility and did something about it. There were 7 changes in this lineup, remember. It was like watching a different football club, I think, compared to the one we've been watching for the last few weeks. Priska kept winning the ball and flicking it on to our players. And then Ipswich started giving the ball away. The pressure we were putting on them, they started to wobble and we just kept coming at them. And it was one of my complaints of Blues throughout the season, even when we've been winning, is we just struggle to hold the ball in the opposition half. That we spend so much of it in our own half trying to get it out, and there's no glue at the top of the pitch. It's a complete inversion today. We were far more confident going into their half of the field. Ipswich really were pinned back. Now, in fairness, had it been 1-1 at half-time, maybe they wouldn't have been. Maybe they got the goal at the right time. And so and let's face it, by the end they were parking the bus. But they needed a result. They got the result. I respect that. Sometimes you've got to ground it out. I remember us away at Preston. I keep bringing that up, mainly because it's such an anomaly performance and tactical approach. But still, I understand why they were doing it. Then we get to the moment. Let us all take an alcohol-free beverage at this point before we get to the moment where we wonder if Ipswich can start giving us lottery numbers. So, the penalty in the opening game of the season has been talked about a lot. Still feels unfair. I mean, it's all moot in the end, but you notice over the season the 2 or 3 referee decisions that really rankle you. And for me, it's that game at Ipswich with the penalty in the 95th minute. I think it was the correct decision in the Southampton game, but still it rankles me that Tomoki Iwata was basically body checked, and by the letter of the law, the referee couldn't give it, but still, that was an outrageous moment. And then Ibrahim Osman cutting to the byline and crossing the ball over, deflected into his own goal by Ipswich defender because Osman hit it hard, fast, true, low, across their penalty area. Nothing they could do. Boom, 2-2. Only it wasn't. Because, right, there's a new Avengers movie out at the end of this year where an assortment of Marvel superheroes will do battle with... It's Robert Downey Jr. again, isn't it? I mean, they're running out of ideas. Haven't they got him playing someone else? They're paying him a bunch of money, right? There's one superhero they're missing. It is the linesman today who could spot from 60 yards out that a football had entirely crossed a line when every replay I've seen of this, including the ones Blues TV showed, looked like the bloody thing's in, that the whole ball hasn't crossed the line. I'm still angry about the home game at Hull in the Lee Bowyer tenure, where the ball was like a full foot over the line, dragged back by a Hull player. Hull score, we lose. Here, to my eyes, I've got a dodgy eye, might be me. Who knows? I've been wrong this season, right? It's Rich, isn't it? I argue with Undernair, who said in the comments early in the season that Wrexham will do better than us. And, I get things wrong, right? But on this one, I've looked at it a few times and it just, how can anyone tell that's crossed the line? It doesn't look it from the angle that I saw, the angles that I saw. Nonetheless, Ipswich, for the second time this season, get an incredible lucky break against us, which is a results-changing break. That's the difference, right? So I do pan-disability football. Do youth pan-disability football on a Sunday morning. And my one of our under-14s teams hit this shot. This young lad hit this shot, and the back of the net rippled. Everybody saw it. The referee hadn't seen it cross the line. And so that is the only decision I've seen this season that I think has been worse in terms of should that be a goal? But I laugh about that because it didn't alter the result. They still won. Fair dues to them. Right? This is just not again. Not again. Really? The same team? Not again. It's the same team who were moaning when another team got a dodgy penalty against them a few weeks ago. Look, we're football fans. That's our job. We moan. I get it. I respect it. But not again. Not again. The last 20 minutes of this game, we just marauded at them. It's our best attacking performance since Coventry, I think. Bits of Leeds, maybe, when we were really gunning at them. But it showed frustratingly what is potentially the DNA of this team, that we have we had forward players willing to trap back and fight. We had players like Solis willing to drive the length of the field. We had Asai Samuel trying to get forward. Ethan Laird trying to take the... It didn't always work, but the intent was different. The intent was different. I know we lost. The intent was different. Osman then... We hit the post again. We've got that lovely stat now. Is it 18 times more than any team in the league we've hit the post or the bar? Like, it gets a bit Arsene Wenger if you're relying on that. I remember he pulled that stat out once. But, you know, hopefully next season, half of those go in rather than bounce out. Who knows? Osman, though, just wants to shoot. Now, he had a little run where his shots were going up. And now he keeps them low, and they cause trouble. And a really good save by Walton pushed it onto the woodwork again. And as an added bonus, the first player to respond was a Blues player, Ethan Laird, straight in on the rebound. Ipswich, not far behind, got the block in, but the intent was there. And, oh, dearie me. There was a bit near the end, I should concede, where Ipswich had a decent penalty shout. But... a few conclusions. I mean, we lost in the end. We lost. We lost in the way that we lost to Middlesbrough away, where it was the odd goal of 3, and it felt like the odd goal of 3. We weren't pummeled. We were the better team this time. We didn't get the ball in the net. Their keeper played well. We had efforts on target. It was a valiant defeat. But... it's still a defeat. You get sod all for a valiant defeat. You still get 0 points. The league table still is fairly miserable. But also, this has to be the standard, doesn't it? Not the 0 points, right? But that we've dragged ourselves off the pitch having given it all. It doesn't matter whether we've got the best or the worst players in the world. Like, most of us as fans would give a limb, ideally of someone else, to be able to be good enough to play for the team that we love, right? And they are. And what we want of them is to give it their all, right? And today they gave it their all. I'm really torn on it, because it was actually a response. It was actually a reaction. It was a much better performance, but it's still a defeat. And if we're going to raise the standards and expectations of this club, which is the Knighthead aim, then we can't really sit there and accept defeat after defeat. You can't do it. Looking forward, we've got Wrexham at home next, which I can't go to, thanks to the Sky Gods, who have rearranged it to 12 o'clock, just at the point that my aforementioned pan-disability teams are playing for the league title. Please wish them well. It's a smashing young bunch of players. We've had quite a season of ups and lows, and we're still in it come the final round of fixtures. So, God, imagine how little hair I've got now. I'm going to be monitoring Blues Wrexham and... thinking of the video I'm going to do afterwards, and my teams over at Cuford Eagles down in King Swinford are going to be, I mean, just hopefully having a good time. You know, that there's slightly different demands on it, really. But God, they've got themselves into good positions. Bottom line, I've already got my excuse in for why the Wrexham video will be late. What I want from these last games, Wrexham, Hull, Portsmouth, Bristol City, just give it a go. Give us something to be proud of. You know, I mean, it's a bit like watching the 3rd, 4th place playoff in the World Cup, isn't it? Only it's like the 13th, 14th place playoff. So it's mildly different, I'll give you that. But it's just like, you don't really care, but you also care. And so, you know, I've said before, I'm going to miss Blues in the closed season. So I'm determined to enjoy it, because I know by mid-June, I'll be pining to watch a crap game with Blues in it. And it's been like, it's been a double blow for Blues today. We lost to Ipswich. The women have lost to Manchester City as well. But both teams have played really well, considering. The momentum of this club can still be a going forward one. There are still changes coming. They're not coming this minute. They're coming at the end of the season, from what I can see. And, you know, we have this opportunity now, between now and the end of the season, to get these players, who are the ones who are likely to be with Birmingham City next season, get them on the park. Let's see what we can do. Let's just see if we can have a bit more fun before we do that, like, weird, conflicted applause for the team on the last match of the season. No, it's all going to be quite different next time we see them. Sure, it's been a wasted season. I don't know. It's been the season that slipped away. Right? Nothing we can do about it now. We still lost today. Ipswich still, can never tell anything from the first game of the season. Ipswich know they've had the rub of the green against us twice, but also they scored their goals today. So that's the way it goes. And the most important thing in the midst of all of this, and you better believe I've been watching and monitoring all the way through, is I managed to turn the mute button off this time. So hopefully you're going to hear everything that I had to say. What a dream. What a delight. Be back after Wrexham. Keep right on, folks. Thanks for watching.